Hello folks, the Y Guy here again. I normally start my videos by saying welcome to my home, but this is no longer a home to me. It's just a big empty house, and I'll explain why. You know, this may or may not be my last video that I'll ever do, and it kind of depends on the outcome of this video, the response to this video. The name of this video is called The Y Guy Shares Where He's Been. You know, it's been about a year, probably more so, than since I've done my last video. And I'd like to explain why to my subscribers. You deserve that. But I was so self-absorbed this past year that I didn't even consider you. And you'll understand why. Okay, let me explain it this way. Like a lot of people, you know, I wasn't raised in a loving environment. So when I met my future wife's parents, they became my parents. So close to the beginning of 2022, my father-in-law, Dad, he died. And with my wife and I both had a heavy grief, of course we would. So, but we moved forward like a lot of people do. But soon after, while helping my little Milo pup into the car to go to the store, I punctured a tumor that I didn't know he had inside of him, and he was dead that afternoon. Well, this crushed my wife and I, especially my wife, because she cuddled with him every night. He was kind of like a security blanket to her. And my previous videos shows the timing of it all. You know, I shared heartbreaking videos about it all, and I also shared how I got little Ollie puppy to heal my broken heart. But he didn't heal my wife's broken heart. Well, soon after that, my mother-in-law, we're talking about a month later, my mother-in-law, my mom, she died. My poor wife. We also had a wonderful older black lab, Yofi, who was 17 years old because of the way I feed her. So before I sold my backhoe, I asked a friend to dig a grave for her, since we live on rocky soil, because I knew that she wouldn't last that much longer. And which brings me to my worst heartache and nightmare of my entire life. While I was out of town on June 28th of 22, my wife committed suicide while laying in Yofi's open grave. It literally destroyed me. Then within a month, my beautiful Yofi, she died, and I buried her where my wife had died. I tried getting grief counseling, but no one would see me due to COVID. And I can't do these video conferences. I just can't. I need one-on-one with a person. So instead, what I did is I shut down, and I crawled into myself. Then when my 43rd wedding anniversary rolled around, you know, on May 10th, which was just a couple of weeks ago, everything came to a head and I broke. I just broke. Similar to Gary Emerald of Tent Maker, when he lost his beautiful wife, Michelle. You know, I took a couple of handfuls of sleeping pills. And, you know, but unlike Gary, unfortunately, I woke up 2 days later in a hospital. You know, I had already made arrangements for my furry family if anything were to ever happen to me. So I knew they were taken care of physically, but emotionally they wouldn't be, and I later found that out. So as a broken, hurting man, as a very broken, hurting person, I was treated worse than a criminal. I really was, with no rights, no advocate, no legal counsel, while being ushered off into a mental hospital. It was one of the most horrific experiences of my life, second to my wife's death, making me wish that I would have succeeded in killing myself. No mental good came of my incarceration. And yes, it was an incarceration. I used to do a lot of prison ministries, and I know what incarceration is. This was similar, but just with a few minor changes. Okay? The healthcare system best describes a kick them while they're down kind of a scenario, because that's what they did to me and to everyone, frankly. This video is an attempt, possibly foolhardily, possibly I'll come across as desperate. Well, that's fine. You can judge it as you wish. But this possibly foolish, desperate video is an attempt to get back on my Why Guy feet, as well as getting my 4th book published that was completed at the same time as my wife's death. My wife is the one who actually came up with the title of my 4th book, Christians Believe What? Why? But I didn't have the heart to publish it. I just didn't a year ago. Well, to conclude, I need help to be motivated, and that brings me to a very unusual idea that I woke up with. I'm living in this house alone, big house alone on 20 acres, beautiful 20 acres. And yes, my 2 dogs and cat are wonderful companions. But if any of my subscribers want to be an additional Why Guy companion, I can supply you a private room and a semi-private bathroom, rent-free. However, this offer is definitely conditional upon the fact that you must have a very special place in your heart for dogs and cats. Also, my dogs are very young, so you must be young enough to outlive them. And not only that, but be healthy enough to enjoy long walks up my very steep driveway, long driveway. And also, speaking of health issues, you have to be a non-smoker as well. You know, there are very few places more beautiful than where I live. However, since it doesn't feel like a home to me anymore, it hasn't. You know, I'm more than willing, frankly, to move in with you. I'm open to the idea. So just think about it, okay? You know, I have hang-ups like everyone else, but I'm pretty much the same honest guy that you've seen for the past 8 years on this video, on these videos. I'm not going to allow people to leave comments, okay, on this video. I shut that part down because I'm still very raw, and far too many Christians are very cruel, as they frankly think their God is. As an example of what I'm talking about, I was once a delegate for the Pat Robertson campaign. You know, Pat Robertson, 700 Club guy. He ran for president in 1986. This later on, and I'm glad he didn't make it as president, because later on, this same clown, he later said that God was punishing Haiti when a hurricane killed thousands of people. I heard that with my own 2 ears. You know, I can only imagine what people like him would say about me right now. So if you're interested in taking me up on my offer, I'll post my email address in the Show Me More section. However, if you're going to be a condemning religious ass when emailing me, your email will be easily deleted so that no one else will see your poison as you know, like they would on the YouTube channel. You know, I've often wondered why God... I've been very honest. Let's just put it this way. I've been very honest in all my videos that I have a hard time trusting God in the temporal, in the here and now. And even more so now. But I don't have any worries, none whatsoever, about the eternal. And I've often wondered why. Why is that? Because a lot of people struggle with trusting God with their lives in the here and now. Then they tend to have it seep over into the eternal as well and come up with all sorts of doctrines. Kia, come here, don't eat that. Sorry about that. Hello, sweetie. This is my little Ollie boy's mate here. She's a doll. Yeah, she's a doll. Well, anyway, excuse me. Piece of styrofoam. Anyway, I've often wondered why is that? Why I have a hard time? Because I due to the research that I did, and I wrote about these in my books, folks, I really believe that we are the God of this world. Okay? Not some fictitious devil. Because we have a way of creating horrible things. And other people that are, cause circumstances to happen that, well, we hurt each other. I mean, just look at your evening news. It's hard to believe that God is in control. And I don't believe that he is. I believe we are. I'm sorry if I've offended a lot of people by saying that. However, as sovereign God, I do believe that he is sovereign over the outcome of our decisions, not over our decisions. Okay, and he's going to make it all right. Again, that's in the eternal. Just watch the evening news, and anyway, it seems to make sense to me, and where Jesus told the Pharisees that you are gods, with a small g, plural. Anyway, we do have the ability to create both good and bad. And that kind of makes us gods if you think about it, and it actually makes a little bit of sense. So the point is no, I don't trust God with a small g for the temporal, because I don't trust myself. And I don't expect anyone else to either. Well, thank you for understanding.